Hello, all my friends for Event Mastery. Sherry Mayer here, and we are ready to get started for today. Let's use this time real quick. Let's do a sound check, make sure you can see my screen and hear me and all that fun stuff. And then just sign in. Let me know you're here. I'm going to pull this open. Oops. Questions. Where are you? Here we go. Yay, okay. Everybody's here. I can see and hear you. Sweet. We have Brian and James and Laura and Don and Todd and Scott and Anne and Jonathan and sheesh. We got lots of people on. I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are still showing up. So, you know, the purpose of these Friday sessions really is, is for you guys. So, make sure you're showing up, especially if you have questions. And today we're going to do this a little bit different in that if you have questions, I definitely need you to let me know in the questions box, and I'm going to take you off mute, and we're going to try to just like rock through as many of you guys as we can. Okay, wait a second. Rhonda just said I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Can nobody hear me? Oh, just kidding. I fixed it. Rhonda, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've been talking for like 2 minutes. That really was not funny. I mean, it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't. Nice. Okay. Anyway, crisis averted. So I'm going to try to just rock through as many of you guys as I can today with questions. So definitely let me know if you have questions. I'm going to take as many of you off mute as possible. And we're just going to kind of go through like, what event are you doing? When are you doing it? What challenges have you come across? What's been your biggest win so far? And then of course, any questions. And we're just going to use this kind of as open office time and any, I want you guys to learn from each other basically. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. On Monday, Michael talked with you guys about, this was the week of confirmations. So we are confirming with our RSVPs. We're confirming with people who have not RSVP'd. We are confirming with our venue. We're confirming with our sponsors. We're confirming with our charities. We're confirming with anybody that's going to help us during the event. So it's just a week of confirmation. It's a week of continued buy-in from everyone and just building excitement for the event. So that is what Michael talked about today. But like I said, I want this session to be about you. So let me know what questions you have. Who wants to come off mute and just share a little bit about the event that you're doing? And like I said, your wins, your challenges. Oh, sure. Now you guys aren't typing. Before it was like, I'm getting 100,000. No, I'm just teasing. Yay. Okay, good. So I don't bite and this will not hurt. I promise. Okay. The only thing I have to figure out how to take you guys off mute. So I'm going to start with Brenda Conyon. I hope I said your name right. Let me find you and I will take you off mute. Brenda. Okay, Brenda, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Woohoo! I can. Yeah.
Very good. Cool. Hey, and you said my name correctly. Very good. Thank you.
Oh, nice. I'm the worst at like pronouncing people's names. So yay.
Oh, sure. Well, it's kind of a different name. So I have a few questions, and
Okay.
I'll just keep talking till you cut me off because I'm really intrigued by all this.
Okay.
I last year was my very first year as a realtor in this new town we moved to. I'm a 5-year realtor and I bounced around. This is my third company I've worked with. So, excuse me, I just gotta. My question is, so last year was really good. I had 13 sales without knowing anybody. And
Wow.
this year I wanted to double my business. And my event, I already had my event a couple weeks ago. It was very low keyed. Just ended up being a gathering of friends, but um, it was at the golf course, the municipal golf course clubhouse, and I would like to continue working with them. My what do you call it? My charity was a company, a business, an organization called CASA, which supports
Mhm.
women in the area that need help and have been abused, is
Mhm.
their main focus. And so, I mean, I've got a few solids with all that, but um, what they want to do now is like, they're like, oh, we need to do a golf outing. I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that sounds huge. And I mean, I had no one help me at my first event, which, I had, I think, 12 attendees, so it was very easy to handle. And
Mhm.
everyone just had drinks and had fun and played Jenga and bags and all that and golf simulator. Um, so I guess my question is how um, is it easy to tackle a large, like a golf outing is a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. And I guess I just need the support in order to do it. Um, is there, I mean, we've kind of talked about a checkoff list of what we need to do
Mhm.
to prepare. I mean, that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
So
I
I
will
don't know.
say this, like trying to organize a golf event is a massive, I mean, it's not just a big undertaking, that is a massive undertaking because
Yeah.
it's not, um, yeah, I mean, that's not a little thing. However, the cool thing is if CASA is pushing you to do that, or even the golf course is kind of pushing you to do that, then I would say, look, I'm open to it. However, I've never run a golf outing before. So I'm going to need to put together a board. We're going to need to have a board to do this.
Hmm.
And I would, the golf course is going to be a great source because, something that they could bring to the table is like, well, who has done charity golf outings here before? And then I would track down those people. You know what I mean? Like maybe I don't know, whoever has done one in the past. And I would, if it's another like charity organization, that may not be the best fit, but however, if it's like like if it was a company, just like a company golf event, maybe track down their HR people and say like, gosh, how did you guys run it? How did you get organized? Who helped you do this? And also, there's also event planners or companies out there that's literally what they do is they help your company or organization put on charity golf tournaments. So
Hmm.
I would look for event planners and tell them like, hey, I'm doing this in conjunction with CASA, so it's, we don't have a budget as of this second, so maybe they would be willing to donate part of their time or do it at an extremely reduced fee, but I wouldn't even commit to a date until you had like until you knew what the costs were associated with doing that.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
you know what I mean? And the cool thing about, golf events, you can like, you can have each hole can be sponsored and each hole could be sponsored by a couple, organizations, and you
Yeah.
can have, so there's all kinds of ways for people to get involved in the community. So
Okay.
anyway, but
Yeah.
it's a massive undertaking and I was involved with the American Red Cross, and we did a first ever. We did a oh my gosh, I can't even remember what do we call it. Basically, it was like a kind of like a off-road biking event, like you ride your bike, like mountain biking. And we had never, as the American Red Cross, we had never done an event like that before. And so we literally put together a board of community members, and we literally had oh my gosh, I think we had 30 people on our board just helping us plan and put together the event to make sure it was a success. And then we had like, I'm not joking, we had to have had 150 volunteers to help us actually run the event that day. So, you know, depending on how big CASA is in your area, they might be a great source of all kinds of volunteers. But I would definitely put together like an exploratory board to discuss the possibility of doing a charity event. And I would word
Okay.
it just like that, because you're
Okay.
not, you know, you're not like committing to it, but you're committing to researching it and figuring out what all it's going to take.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, you know, you might get 20, 30 people involved and find out that, oh my gosh, you know, we're going to have to raise $20,000 to make this work, or, you know what I mean? So you got to
Yeah.
kind of figure, you know, and be happy to be a part of it, but also know that if, that this is going to be like a large amount of your time too. So unless you can get somebody involved that like does this
Okay.
professionally, or even the golf course might have somebody on staff that does it. So that might be a huge lift off of you.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that.
yeah. So at your event, so when did you do your event? You did it last week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
This weekend. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago. And so, what was your question?
No, just how did it go, and what was the one thing that caught you off guard about it, either good or bad, about your
One
event?
thing that caught me off guard was feeling nervous about asking someone to help me. My husband was busy. The office that I work out of is actually in a town 30 minutes away. So no one up there was able to come down and help me, and they were all busy showing houses anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it was just, figuring out, because I'm kind of a lone wolf in my town, and it's only
Mm-hmm.
a town of 11,000. So I'm just, trying to figure out some things to do to challenge the big hitters that have been in town forever. Um, Another challenge that I kind of figured out was afterwards, I felt like, oh my gosh, I could have invited these people, I could have invited these people. So I didn't do enough brainstorming on invites. And just throwing it on Facebook as an invite is just one avenue. You really do need to reach out personally to all these people. And again, I mean, this June, July, May, June, and hopefully July, but May and June are our absolute busiest months as realtors in this
Mm-hmm.
area. And so I really felt stretched to try and get all this, get everything done correctly. But I guess it's a process, and each time you fine tune it, and
Mm-hmm. Did you
having a
have any
list of,
sponsors?
yes, CASA was my sponsor, and
Oh, okay.
they had 3 people show up, another office administrator, the office administrator, and 2 other gals. And then I had like, I think 7 friends show up, and everyone was all giddy and happy, and a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
women just laughing and having a good time. And the event was called Ladies Night Out. The municipal golf course manager he wished that people would know that they could come and just hang out instead of going to the bar for a happy hour. Come there and meet
Mm-hmm.
some of your friends, and you could sit and talk and visit, and have drinks, or do the golf simulator, or
Yeah.
play a few games. So I was just trying to satisfy a bunch of needs at once, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
brought business accessories for the donations. So CASA got some really nice journals and day planners, and um, you know I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, pens and packets of paper and tablets, and
Yeah.
so it was a really nice. I thought it was a good fit. Um,
Yeah. Well,
so
and that might be kind of fun, like as a follow-up too, to talk with not only the golf course and CASA, but you know, ask all of the people that came, like, hey, if I were to do this again, do you think you could bring 2 more friends with you? And then all of a sudden you go from 14 people to, almost 40 people. Do you see what I
Sure.
mean? So
Right, right.
that might be one strategy too.
Yeah.
To double and triple the size of your event, and do it, and if you do that each time and everybody brings 2 people, before long, that's going to be, it'll be a really good size event, and it'll really create that kind of that buzz that you're looking for. And, the other thing too that you might look for, and then I'll switch to some other questions that we have coming in, but
Sure.
maybe invite, if you have a local photographer, that might be a great way to get some fun things out there on social media too during the event to help promote, what's going on during the event, to kind of create that
Okay.
buzz. Because you said the golf course guy, you and the owner was looking for, come hang out here. Well, let's start. That might be a good way to do it. So, and the more people that
Sure.
get involved, the more people know about it, the funner the event is. So,
Yeah, yeah. The more
yeah.
fun, the more recognition and all that. Um, One more thing before I hang up here. Uh, do you guys do you have any sort of um, personal finance tracking for each event? Do you have something that you can share with us that, I don't, just to help track our finances and then compare that from event to event?
As
That's
far as
kind of like why
like,
we're doing this. Tracking, I don't know, just I guess I need to create my own, how much I spent for
are
this
you
and
talking
that.
about like sponsors, like sponsors, or are you talking about like the cost side, or both?
My personal business and the funds and time and effort and trying to, to figure out my ROI um, and I don't know, I guess I just need to keep a list of money I've spent for each event.
Yeah, I would
And
definitely
then,
track that. And
yeah.
I think we have a tracker in this book. There's a page where I think we have it listed out for your budget, just like, is there a cost?
Oh,
And a lot of times, something easy to look at is just, is there a cost associated with the venue? Which,
mhm.
we like to get that at zero because you're going to be bringing people to a business. So, there's potentially could be that if you're giving away any sort of, gift bag giveaways, if you're the one bringing the door prizes, there shouldn't be, the way to kind of ease into doing events is to put more time than money into the event. And that's, of course there's a cost associated with your time in the event, but as your events grow, that should be offset. And the other thing too, I mean, as realtors, we're really lucky. One sale is not like $34.95, right? Like getting a
Yeah,
referral at this event should way more than cover, even if you're at a $300,000 price point,
mhm.
one referral of a $300,000 client, you shouldn't be coming anywhere close to spending that for an event. I mean,
Right.
you should
Yeah.
be talking about, I spent hundreds of dollars on an event, not thousands, especially if you're kind of just now getting started in the events. And you're
Sure.
looking to offset a lot of that. And at first, people are like, gosh, I don't know what to ask for my sponsors. Well, if you know you're going to be able to do this event for $500 and you think you can get 3 sponsors, ask them each, say, hey, sponsorship is $200 and you've offset most of it, or tell them sponsorship is $300 and you've offset all of it. Look to break even and then go from there. If
Mhm.
that's, because surely your sponsors at the end of the event, they're going to be like, wow, that was like the best $300 I've spent all year. And it's like, great, our next one is going to be bigger. So we're probably going to have to chip in a little bit more. It might be 500 instead of 300. And they're going to be like, okay.
Yeah. I can see how it'd be beneficial to hire a part-time assistant just to knock out an event and probably
Oh,
worth your money
sure.
and yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for going through all that.
You bet. Thank you.
I'm going to put you back on mute. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so then next I have a question from James Yarsky. How can we help our sponsors benefit directly from our event since we're not pushing any materials or etc.? Great question. On the flip side, if a strategic partner wanted to host an event and we have the opportunity to sponsor, how can we promote ourselves softly? Does that make sense? Of course it does. And I'm going to take you off mute just to kind of make sure we get the essence of your question, James. Are you there?
Yes.
Awesome. So
Can you hear me?
yeah, I think the best way, as far as like when you're working with sponsors at your event, I think the number one question that you ask them, and you can ask them this week, right? If we're theoretically a couple weeks out before the event, when you call them just to like confirm their participation, confirm that like, hey, I've decided we're going to do door prizes, so I'd love for you guys to bring a door prize. You're confirming all that. The one question I would ask them is like, how can I make this event the biggest win for you?
Okay.
Because you never know. It could be the biggest win for them just having a table there. Or maybe the biggest win for them is you happen to mention that, I don't know, somebody is coming to your event and your sponsor really wants to meet that person and you know them really well, or you know what I
Okay.
mean? So everybody's going to have their own version of how you can make that the biggest win for them, and then I would just make that happen. And a lot of times it's not a big thing, you know? So I would ask them.
That makes sense. I'll definitely ask. I guess where I was thinking, where I was coming from is, um, like I totally buy into and have a good feel for kind of the casual approach and just building relationships and not asking for referrals. I think maybe Michael said ask on paper as part of our
Hmm.
registration form.
Hmm.
Um, so let's say I have a lender there, and I will take your advice and ask him, but just kind of playing it out. If I have a lender there, I mean, I could certainly thank him for his support while
Hmm.
everyone's there. But I'm not saying, hey, that, um, we need your business to go to this lender. Here's his material, the typical
Yeah.
things that you do to promote somebody. So do you have
Yeah.
examples of just a softer way to do that, or would you put their information on the registration form? I don't want the form to get too long.
Yeah. I wouldn't put their information on the registration form because they're just going to see that for a second and then turn that in. So, I would just say, if, you know, so I would definitely go over like ground rules with them, like, hey, you're not going to hand out people, a brochure or a card or a rate
Absolutely.
card or, you're not
I've
handing out
already
any of
done
that
that,
jazz.
and they
But
don't have a problem with it. They're like, great,
yeah,
I'll be there. I'm just curious if I was in their position and we're just kind of standing around, we're all eating and having a drink, and I guess they get a chance to mingle. And again, it makes sense
yeah.
to me, but I don't know if it would make sense to everyone.
Yeah, well, and when you're doing the door prize, you have a chance to get up and say, hey, this door prize here is donated by Sally, and she's with ABC Lending Company. And let me just tell you, let me tell you one reason why I love Sally. I love Sally because whatever it is.
Mhm.
She, just this weekend, I called her at 7 o'clock and she took my call because we got into a competitive offer situation and the lender, my clients decided the last minute they wanted to switch lenders. She answered her phone at 7 o'clock, was able to get my clients approved, and we were able to get our offer submitted. She's always going above and beyond. Or, maybe you want to give an example of something that's a personal, personally, like I love Sally because, yeah, she's a lender. We work really well together. We send each other a lot of business back and forth. But one of the reasons I love her is because, we go to the same church and she's a huge supporter of whatever, or she's a huge partner. We're partnered also with ABC Charity and she is a huge advocate for them too. Or, you know what I mean? Just,
Sure.
it, I think saying something personally like that has far more weight and credibility than like, oh, hey, make sure on your way out tonight you grab her rate card or, you know, you know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
yeah. And ask them, you know, I would ask them like, I would just ask them, how do I make this the biggest win for you? You know,
Absolutely.
in your wildest dreams, you know, what's your best case scenario? So, and then you
Okay.
were also asking about like, you know, vice versa. You were asked to participate in one of your strategic partners events.
I was just thinking, I mean, what if my top mortgage partner,
Hmm.
his client base includes some of mine, but is also
Hmm.
totally separate. If he was going to host an event and I could come in and buy the coffee or whatever it may be, buy a door prize. And I guess we just would reverse that. But, I
Hmm.
didn't know if anybody had worked it that way before.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and in scenarios like that, um, A, I would almost guess that your lender wouldn't ask you to be a sponsor because if they're doing a client event, there's probably going to be lots of realtors there.
Well, let me make it a little more real life. So my wife is a hairstylist.
Uh-huh.
And I've been telling her, like, hey, you should host a little just a thank you latte, love you latte event
Yeah.
for even if it's just your favorite clients.
Hmm.
And, she works like 3 days a week, so it's not a huge business. And I was like, look, I'll buy the coffee. You get your
Yeah.
people in, tell them thank you, and help grow your business. It'll solidify your business. Um, and then on the flip side, without again jumping in front of people and handing them a business card,
Hmm.
how do I hope to come across some referrals from doing that for her?
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, the first thing, if you're there to support her, you know, you could do a couple things. One, you could, you know, offer to buy the coffee, maybe. You could also, um,
Yeah, I mean,
trying
a
to-
couple hundred
I'm
bucks would
trying.
cover this whole thing, so it's not
Oh,
a.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I was thinking like, how do we swing business back to your wife? You know, hey, maybe you have some special cards made. And I know I'm saying not to hand out stuff, but like, what if the card literally is like, hey, the next time you go in to get your hair done, I'm going to pay $5 of it. So make sure to turn in this coupon and, you know, I'll pay $5 of it. Or, you know, maybe there's something you can do like that. Or maybe
Okay.
there's like a ancillary service that doesn't cost very much that you could add like oh my gosh, let me think. I don't know. Maybe you give away, you know, a blowout, or maybe you sponsor a haircut, or you sponsor a cut and color, which is like, you know, $85 or something. You know what I mean? Like
Just
your
take,
door prize is
just continue
something
to
that
take a
goes back
soft
to your wife.
approach. Try to be creative. Maybe sponsor a big door prize or something, and
Yeah. But
and
have
just
it
kind of
go back to
work.
her, right? Because when that person goes in to get, you know, like, oh my gosh, I won this, you know, free cut and color, you know, which is, you know, $85, you know, it's
Right.
a big deal. You know, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, their husband's so awesome. Now, what does he do again? And what does he, you know, the whole conversation will
Exactly.
be, it's going to go that way. So,
Right. My thoughts exactly. Okay. Thank you.
yeah. And you know, I'll give you one other example too. So Michael gets asked a lot to speak at different events.
Hmm.
And so a lot of times what we'll do, like if he's just, you know, one of the speakers at like a, you know, maybe there's a large event, we were just speaking at an event. And so we actually gave away like a big screen TV. And so on the registration form for that, we asked them, I think it was a conference for CPAs, and we were like, hey, what other CPAs do you know that aren't at this event that should be? And so at the end of the conference, we went through all of our door prize forms and we went back to the conference sponsor that had us in. We are like, hey, we got the names of like 40 CPAs that were not at your event from across the country that other people that were here thought should be here. And they were like, what? It's like, yeah, we just got you 40 leads for free. Do you want the contact information for these people? And they were like, yeah, you know. So always think of ways to tie back to, the reason where you are.
Right.
So, yeah, great questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Sandy Pluris is chiming in saying, I have planned several golf outings. Oh, there you go. And most golf courses have someone on staff that can assist you. There you go. Normally, your contact at the golf course can guide you. And there's also, you can find checklists online about how to host a golf outing. Look at that. Sandy Pluris for the win. There you go, Brenda. Let's see. I'm reading, sorry. That's my brain thinking while I'm reading, you guys. Okay, what other questions do we have? Because I got a lot of you online. Who has a question or comment, suggestion? Or I'm just gonna start taking people off mute. Either way. Come on. I know you guys have questions. Yeah, and Brenda just made a point, like when you're introducing your sponsors or whatever, she said, I don't see anything wrong with letting her clients know that like you work a lot with this lender sponsor or you work a lot with this title company. Absolutely. Absolutely. They're your favorites, right? In fact, I'm just thinking, yes, I think I have a podcast episode for you guys if you want to listen. It has aired and I don't know the podcast number off the top of my head, so you're going to have to look. Or you can also find all of our podcast episodes. They are recorded on video on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube/7LTV on YouTube, you can find all of our podcast episodes in video format there. We had on, it was another episode with Toril Chauffeur. She's the one that does I Love You a Latte events. But her and her husband, they're in business together. They own their real estate company in Spokane, Washington. They were telling us about their, what do they call it? Vendors That We Love program. And so they were basically talking about like how they set that up and how they pull their vendors in as sponsors to all of their events. So that's a great podcast episode if you guys want to listen to that, talking about sponsorships and how you bring people in, that kind of thing. Let's see. Todd Reed has a question. He says, do you collect sponsorship fees up front before the event? Do you accept credit cards from the sponsors? Todd, I'm going to bring you off mute just to like have a real conversation here. But I think that can be up to you either way. Are you there, Todd?
I am, thanks. Yeah, I was just wondering what you thought was the best, is that way you're not sitting there trying to get checks from sponsors while they're there at the event? That's one less thing to do. Also, it's kind of make sure they have skin in the game, but I was wondering how firm you were with that with your sponsors, or just never been an issue.
Well, it's never been an issue, but sometimes they need reminded. So, and I always collect it prior to, because you're going to have cost, like your costs are going to be probably leading up to the event. So if there's, sometimes you have a cost for the venue, sometimes you have a cost for, if you're going to be buying any sort of handouts or, gifts or, food or that kind of thing, you might have those are upfront. So, and plus one thing you don't want to do is have to track down one of your sponsors at the event for like a check for $500. I mean, that just like, it kills the whole atmosphere. It really does.
I would think, right. Okay.
Yeah. So, and as far as like accepting credit cards, I mean, that's up to you. You would obviously have to have a way to do that. And if you don't, then I would just tell them, hey, you got to go old school. Got to write me a check.
Yeah.
So lots of ways to do that.
Thanks.
Let's see. What podcast number on the sponsorship stuff? I don't remember, Brenda. We like record so far in advance, like what the episode that drops now, and I do coordinate the podcast, but it's like in my head, I have to forget we're like dropping episode 39 this week, but I'm recording like later today. Michael's recording like number 47, 48, and 49. So I can't remember. Let's see. Stacy has an idea. Oh, Venmo or PayPal is a great way to collect money. Awesome suggestion. Venmo is like the greatest thing ever. PayPal is super easy too. Do I number them as well? Do I number them as well? Oh, the podcast. Thank you. Yes. So if you look, like if you have an iPhone and you look in your iPhone at the referrals podcast, I don't label them, but they always start out with a number. So it'll say like 37 and then the actual title. So, but if you go to 7LTV on YouTube and you search for, if you just search for Toral's name, both of her episodes should come up, and you'll see one's about Love You a Latte and one's about her Vendors We Love program. So there you go. I have a question about database management in each event or when going from event to event. Any pointers on database management in each event or when going from event to event? So that question was from Brenda again, and I'm going to take you back off mute because I want you to clarify. Clarify that for me, Brenda. Database
Well,
management.
I don't know if I can. I think the problem is I am not good with my database management. And
Okay.
I mean, and that's, I'm also seeing that that's huge. I mean, the reason for doing these events is to, for recognition in your area and with your friends and family and friends and their
Mhm.
friends, but also, I mean, you're capturing their names and emails and phone numbers for
Mhm.
future business. So
What database do you use?
I have Top Producer right now, but I find it so involved and it's just too much for me. So right now
So
I'm just doing,
do you know how to use Microsoft Excel?
well, and that's what I've been doing just because I'm seeing a huge need and I don't want to get, you know, so far backlog that I don't have these somewhere, the names and addresses and somewhere. So I have just been starting an Excel sheet.
Yeah,
Simple.
I would do that until you find out, you know, if there's a different way or a better way. And like you said, you're new to your market. So managing your list out of Excel for, you know, even a couple years isn't going to be that hard. But you're right. When you do your door prizes, you want to ask them like name, address, cell phone number, best email address. You know, you want to get that information from them. And
Right.
you know, and as you fill in the blanks, then too at future events you can start asking other fun questions like when's your birthday, or when, you know what I mean, like you know, do you have any pets? What are their names? What kind are they? Or, you know what I mean? Just things like that. You can start asking fun questions like that because, you know, it's like, oh, well, the people I'm inviting, I have their name, address, cell phone number, email address. I've got all that. Okay, so let's start collecting some fun information. And you can easily manage all of that in Excel. And so if you have like your main database in Excel, you know how you can have multiple sheets within a workbook in Excel? Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm not real good with it, but I do know what that is.
Or you can have separate, okay. So what I would do is like, I would create a list. So you have your main client list or your main database list, let's call it. Another sheet, you could have people who were invited to your first networking event, ladies night out event. And you could put, who was invited, and then a checkbox like they showed up, or highlight their name. So that way, like, oh, okay, I invited 25 and these 14 showed up. And the reason I know those 14 showed up is because they're highlighted in yellow. And then you could create another tab like, okay, here's my next event. And it's, ladies night out event for September 2019. And you can, have it that way. So you can know like, oh, who's been coming, who hasn't been coming, who's always there. You can track stuff that way until you decide to either use Top Producer or,
Sure.
or if you switch to something else.
Right, whatever's, the free one that's provided by our company.
Mhm.
So the master Excel sheet is everything I put in, the master sheet. So everything I put in each different sheet, I can also propagate that to one big long list of names. Is that true?
It is true.
Okay.
If you are not an Excel guru, I would just keep them separate.
Okay. Okay.
So you don't confuse yourself. There is a way, that you can
Okay.
tie several sheets within one workbook together to a master list. However, if you don't know what you're doing, I would just keep separate lists, or
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, keep it easy. Don't have to go take an Excel course to figure out how to keep your list. You know what I mean?
No,
Like, if you
I
know
don't
how to
wanna do that.
create, name, address, phone number, email address, and in different rows, do that.
Yes. Okay.
And then, eventually you're going to get to a point in your business, like you said, where you hire somebody, part-time as an assistant to like help you,
Yeah. That's
and
what I
then
need to do.
tell them like, hey, I have this thing called Top Producer. You should learn it and put all my stuff in there. So anyway,
Okay. Thank you.
all right. And I do not have time. Somebody tell me what time it is. I don't want to go over if we're not over our time. I'm happy to stay here. I'm good. Okay, 1:15. Okay. So we're not over time. So we have 15 minutes. I'm happy to hang or not. So I'm here for you guys. Who has questions? Who can I help? Anyone? All right, everybody in your questions box, type what has been your biggest aha so far. Either going through the class, planning your event, doing your event. I know some of you have already done them. What's been your biggest aha? And it could be, more than likely it's something small. What's been your biggest aha? Like Brenda said, she realized she's not very good at asking for help. But the thing of it is, if she goes back and asks for help from everybody that was at her last event, if you ask for help in some fashion, not only does it ensure that they're going to show up at your next one, but they'll help you. And if your attendees, you ask them to help you, and the way that they can help you is by bringing 2 people to your next event, not only are they're getting involved, and they're helping you to meet new people. So asking for help is one. Rhonda says, how to encourage people to get involved before the event. That's right. That is huge. Claire says, next time we do an event, I should ask for more help, just like Brenda. Brenda says, I was so happy that people actually showed up and that they had a great time. Stacy says, planning and vendors, asking them to help me sponsor. Katie says, the handwritten notes. It's so simple, but it's overlooked, and it has already been a game changer for us in our event. So there you go. Patty Luca says the whole system, and everyone on Facebook is so helpful. Yay. Enrique Sanchez, it doesn't have to be a large crowd to start. 5 to 10 people is okay for your first event. And that is so true. Patricia Wharton says, remembering to follow up with the venue a week prior to make sure that they haven't forgotten. That is key. That is definitely key. Brian Thornhill says, I realize that involving, whoa, these are coming in super fast. I realized that involving a brand new realtor gave me the accountability I needed to get moving. He will now be my first team member. There you go. Rachel Davenport says, giving myself enough time to get everything done. This is true. Sean Woods, oh, hey, Sean, I didn't see you on the list. Sean Woods says, getting really cool door prizes. This is true. Rachel says, not to be rushed by my boss. And yes, 40 people is good. Too many, it gets hard to talk to everyone, and that's an excellent point too. As a new agent in the area, this is an excellent process to do. Very true. Very, very true. So I'm glad you guys are all having success at different levels and at different ways. I like it. Dawn also says planning far enough in advance to make things smooth during the process, right? And the first time, I mean, that's why we're spending so much time going through this, your first event. There's so much to think about. And as we'll talk about in the weeks to come, you'll actually, do your event, do your follow-up, but a big piece of that too is like, what did we learn? What can we do better? What are we definitely going to keep doing? So all of that is part of the process, because what you don't want to do is like just do one event, be exhausted, and then, be 12 months down the road again and go, oh my gosh, I need to do another event. 12 months is too long. You need to keep the momentum, keep people engaged. That's what you want to do. So, but anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for showing up today. Keep posting any questions that you have in the Facebook group. Like they said, it's a great place to get advice, get your questions answered again. Next Friday, I will be on again. I don't have any guests planned for next Friday either, so we're going to be open for questions, comments, whatever. So we can use this time however you want. So I hope that even those of you that were kind of quiet in the background still learned from everyone else. And Michael is looking forward to seeing you on Monday. So thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.